Hello, everyone. Welcome to Durrett's Take. It's time to go over my SEC college football preview. Let's get started actually with the teams that I don't think will make a bowl game in the SEC because there's more good teams and bad teams in the SEC. One, Vanderbilt obviously won't make a bowl game. Now, they might be better than record indicates, but I just feel like Vanderbilt's will always be Vanderbilt. Mississippi State. They brought in new head coach Jeff Levy, who was the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma and Tennessee, formerly that, and he's a proven offensive coordinator. So I like the hire and like them getting off their previous head coach after just one season. They brought in Baylor quarterback Blake Shipp to be the starter, but it's just clearly rebuilding with all the transfers that have been brought in, and with the coordinator being promoted head coach, it's just going to kind of take a minute for Mississippi State to get started. Florida, they won't make a bowl game just simply because of their very hard schedule. It is the hardest schedule in the country. And then other teams who might not make a bowl game, but I think could barely make a bowl game. You got Arkansas. They brought in Boise State transfer quarterback Taylor Green to replace KJ Jefferson. Pittman has brought in a lot of transfers on the offensive line. They tried to rebuild that since that was the main issue last year. They even hired former Arkansas head coach Bob Petrino. Arkansas's defense has delivered mixed results, but they brought in transfers to help improve the secondary since the front seven is pretty good. So they could be interesting. Another one is Kentucky. They brought in Georgia transfer quarterback Brock Vandagriff was a high-rated recruit, but didn't play a lot of Georgia. Obviously, they hope he can rub off some Georgia magic at Kentucky, which they need because they lost their starting running back Ray Davis from last year, and he was their whole offense. And their defense from Kentucky defense is actually starting to regress from years past, which is not a good sign for Kentucky. South Carolina, they were disappointed. Like out of top 3 teams last year, they're the biggest disappointment. They with Spence Rattler they brought it. They're going young here, going Lenore Sellers to be their new quarterback, and they brought in Rocket Sanders from Arkansas, who when healthy is a top 5 running back in college football. He's really good. The offensive line was the major issue last year. They brought in transfers to try to help out that. The defense was pretty decent last year. They were like good at not giving up the big plays, but they were not that disruptive. And I expect that to be at least improved a little bit to where they can make a bowl game. And then Oklahoma, with them making the transition to SEC, like Colorado to the Pac-12, it didn't work out. Nebraska to the Big Ten so far, it hasn't worked out. I think the same thing could be said here for Oklahoma. If you can't stop Oklahoma State and Kansas State on offense, good luck stopping Bama and Georgia. They replaced Dylan Gabriel with highly rated quarterback Jackson Arnold, who played a few games last year for them, but I didn't see much to be sold on him. So I feel like Oklahoma can make a bowl game this year, but I'm not going to expect anything more from them. Another team is Auburn. They were improving in the right direction for Hugh Freeze's first year last year. They're back their quarterback Peyton Thorne, their top rushers, offensive lines experience. They brought in some good weapons. Their defense is pretty decent. They brought in some transfer portals there to help out that. They brought in new defense coordinator, former Maryland head coach D.A. Jerkin was a good move. And with Auburn's scheduled to where they have 5 home games for the first 5 weeks of the season, they can build momentum off starting fast, and who knows what can happen from there. LSU, they obviously are going off their former Heisman Trophy quarterback who's left for the NFL and going with Grant Nussmeier, who's been waiting in the wings, who's played good in the bowl game last season. Since the running backs and offensive line are veteran and there's not a lot of veteran receivers, I expect this to be more for Russian type of offense this season for Brian Kelly. The defense was abysmal last year, so they brought in Missouri defense coordinator to try to fix that up. So we'll see how much the defense can improve there. Okay, so now for the contenders, you obviously can start off with Bama if you want. Just because Nick Saban's gone doesn't mean the Crimson Tide are going anywhere. Kalen DeBoer has won everywhere he's gone. I expect him to get the most out of Jalen Milroe, who showed progression last year. The majority of the offensive line returns. There's a lot of defensive contributors who are gone, but there's a lot of people waiting in the wings, ready to fill that void because there's a lot of Nick Saban recruits that are still there. So I like Alabama to be in contention there. Another one obviously is Georgia, who I have wanted to see. Obviously the Bulldogs should have been given a chance to repeat last year, but sadly that didn't happen. So now they're going to go out to prove it this year. For a top 5-ish team, they have a lot of returning production, including starting quarterback Carson Beck. Receivers slash tight end when Brock Bowers being gone is the only area of concern, but with the way they recruit, they should be fine. Now their schedule is a little bit difficult, having to go to Bama, to Texas, to Ole Miss, so we'll see if they can overcome that. Ole Miss, they're the number one transfer portal recruiting class in the country. So since they bring back their veteran quarterback Justin Dart, as long as all these veterans come in and mesh together, then they should be just fine. Especially since they get Georgia home and they don't have to face Bama this year, which has been a thorn on their side. If Lane Kiffin were to do something this year, this would be a perfect year to do it. Texas, the Longhorns, transition to SEC, how will they do? Well, they return quarterback Quinn Ewers and a good offensive line, but their top two running backs got injured in fall camp, which doesn't help, and they have some receiver question marks. And on defense, they did lose some key contributors there, but Sarkisian has been proven at SEC level recently, and they've been improving, so I'm not too concerned with that. Now, they do face Oklahoma and Texas A&M, and I feel like if they split one, or obviously win both, then they'll make the playoffs, but how they do against their rivals will determine if they make the playoffs once again or not. Texas A&M, boy, did they get a scheduling break. They don't face Bama, Georgia, Ole Miss, or Tennessee, and then they get Texas, Missouri, LSU, and Notre Dame all at home. So the Aggies need to take advantage this year. They returned starting quarterback Connor Wegman, who missed a couple games last year due to injury. They did just lose their star running back Ruben Owens for the season, fall camp, which is not ideal. But expect this to be more passing offense than running offense. The defense returns a lot of contributors, especially on the front line. And Mike Elko, the former Duke head coach, is now taking over for the program. He's making sure that he's getting a good defensive squad together, and I feel like he can help turn Duke around I feel like he can help turn the Aggies around like he did with Duke. Tennessee, they want to get back to where they were 2 years ago with Hendon Hooker, where they were knocking on the door for the playoff spot. Nico Lamanalva, the redshirt freshman who started the bowl game last year, he has potential, and I can see him potentially helping the offense get back to being explosive. The defense has actually improved the last couple of years as Josh Heupel's taken over, and I expect that to be the case once again. And then last but not least is Missouri. The Tigers, came out of nowhere last year. Now expectations are high for the team. They return starting quarterback Brady Cook, star receiver Luther second, they're an offensive line. Now they do lose their star running back Cody Schrager, so we'll see how that goes. And the defense loses some contributors, so maybe they regress back, especially with them losing new defense coordinator. So the defense kind of help determine if they make the playoffs or not. Also, they kind of like Bama, they lose their star kicker Memphis, who can kick from 65 plus yards and make clutch field goals. He's the reason why Missouri had a magical season last year and won 10 plus games. So we'll see if Missouri can have a good replacement kicker there, because that will kind of help determine things. Now, again, for more in-depth stuff for my college football preview in general, please go to my LinkedIn page, Dallin Durrett, to see all that. And I'm not going to go over, I have a podcast where I go over my G5 stuff. Like I said, you can just review that in my article. Thank you very much for listening today. Have a wonderful day and enjoy college football starting now.